Welcome to Feral Healing, two best friends, one soul bond, a podcast dedicated to eccentric healing, the kind of conversations that crack you up and your heart open. Now, here are your hosts, Camille and Caitlin. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Feral Healing. This episode is called Fantasy Fatigue. I am Caitlin.
And I'm Camille.
Camille, do you know that moment in a book when a male character written by a woman ruins all men for you?
Yeah,
He's
yes, I do.
emotionally fluent, knows how to grip your soul with a sentence, and somehow understands the exact weight of all of your trauma that you've been through.
hmm
Doesn't run. You close the book and sigh because where is he at?
But like, where is
Where
he?
is he? But where is he?
I'm waiting for you. You said you would come for me.
My favorite thing is like the videos where I see where like the girls are just like, do you ever just want to
Just,
just
I
just dive into the book? It's so true. It is so true.
feel like there should be university for men where they have to take a course on romance novels
On yes.
just so that they're aware.
Yep.
You know,
It's
they
so
could go
true.
so
It's so
far.
true.
They could go so far if they were
So
just
far in this
aware.
life.
But it reminds me about how, like, to segue it a bit, like when you log back in, like
Mhm.
reality checks
Oof.
real hard, you know? So like you've smacked your head into the book and you're like ready to
Yeah.
go, and you're like, well, back to the real world, man. And you log back into Bumble, and then
Oh.
the man asks you immediately, first thing, so what's your body count?
Ugh.
Before they even know what your
Ugh.
last name is.
Insecurity.
Could you
Insecurity.
imagine, like, can you like you just read about, I don't know, pick any of them from any of the
Oh,
romance
I don't know.
novels.
A Fae King or a Fae.
Yeah.
Where do we start? A
Jamie
Vampire King?
Fraser from
Uh,
Outlander, you know,
uh,
like you read or you
yeah.
watch or you listen,
Hmm.
and then you get hit with that. It's just what welcome to the cognitive dissonance. To, you know. So today's
They were
perspective, we have a very broad question.
right. Why do men written by men feel so flat?
Or on the
Abs
contrary, Caitlin, like, right?
uh-huh.
So we have the men that are written by
Mhm.
women, and the
Mhm.
women are just like, ugh, you
Da, da, da,
know,
da, da.
which is
Yeah.
what men want us to be like. That's the
Mhm.
paradox of the whole situation, right? But you get men who write male characters, and they're this heroic, violent, slightly stoic. It's just like
But also completely emotionally flat.
no depth.
No.
Except for maybe regret and avenge or revenge.
Yeah. Yep.
I just, I just don't. Why do men, why? Why do they still
Mhm.
perceive women through the lens that we perform?
So
And
that's what I was gonna get to is like men write women the way they perceive and want women in this performance, in which case women have taken notes over the years and we've given men that back in a fantasy form, like in but in reality. But why do men not sit down and read men written by women and take those same notes?
as like homework, as like,
Yeah.
here's your guidebook to
Yeah.
the emotional pleasure. And it's like, if men were to understand, like the metaphor, y'all are the house. Literally, the protective structure, the foundation of security, stability, and that house is consistently safe. It keeps out the wolves. It
Not
keeps out,
just physically.
no, literally our safety, right? And the woman is the hearth and the heart within. We infuse all of the goodness. And if
Yeah.
you were to really modernize it, they do the dance that
Hmm.
infusion is this beautiful
Yeah.
dance, like because they're feeling the warmth from within that it ignites within them, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to take us a turn real quick of something I learned about today that I
Okay.
didn't know.
Okay.
But this is a fact. And I will, if y'all request it, I will give you links, okay? That when men fall in love, they lose testosterone.
Hmm.
When they have their own babies or when they adopt babies, they lose up to 30% more of their testosterone. So,
Which brings us to our testosterone is higher when we're on our period. So we're actually acting like men. Just
so just gonna swim with these facts. We're just gonna doggy paddle with them, non-aggressively.
not aggressively at all.
No. So, but no, these are facts.
Yeah.
A man will be at a peak testosterone when he's dating. Peak. So he's working out, he's doing his thing, he's eating right, he's taking good care of himself, he's feeling fulfilled. His testosterone is doing that really big rise in the morning and it drops at night for sleep, da da da. And that is primal so that they can attract a mate. But when they
Mhm.
get her, it lowers so that their body can focus on the other hormones to keep the mate. Girl!
Which
So,
which which straight up brings me to what happens when we try to build a relationship in the middle of projection, fantasy,
mhm,
fear,
mhm,
all of those things.
mhm.
Ugh,
Oh,
brings us right
girl.
back to
Girl, we
the
gonna get
fantasy
into
realm.
it. We gonna get
Yes.
into it. And
This is feral healing, guys.
this is where we read between the lines and
Yes.
set the fire to the scripts that no longer serve us.
Period. Period. So, Camille, let's start with the way men write themselves from
Sorry.
movies. No, what?
Yes. I'm sorry. Go on.
Did I?
Sorry, I mentally just got like sweat swiped in my face from like 300 and just like, but go
So, from the
on.
way they write themselves in movies
Hmm.
to dating profiles, like there's always a script that says, I'm strong and stoic, emotionally unavailable, and somehow still deserving of the entire emotional labor that would cost a woman.
I almost want to be like, do they even, it's like, do they even get that much credit for maturity in some cases? Because it's almost like they are deserving
Yeah,
just by
it's
being
like
that way.
just
They're owed.
existing. Yeah,
They're
they're owed
owed
that.
it.
Hmm.
The exact obedience. Like we were watching a TV show last night and a rapist used that as his whole excuse. He was like, I'm getting what I'm owed because
Ugh.
she said something that put him in his place publicly. And
Mm.
so because she hurt his pride, you know, and it's
Hmm.
like not that I want to compare general men to rapists, but like it's that same error of this is what I'm owed though.
With that subject though, like even the books I read, I was reading a romance the other night. It's a romantasy, it's a fantasy. And it's a dark romantasy because it's a dark romance, in which case, there's this girl who has several men who are trying,
Mm.
and she's strong and like she beats the crap out of this guy because they're all these warriors. She beats the crap out of him. And then he breaks into her room that night and attempts to rape her because he was publicly humiliated by being beaten up by a woman who was smaller than him. And he's like, I know who you are and I know where you come from. She was a servant before. And he goes, and I'm taking what's mine. Essentially, he's like, I have every right to take this from you. I'll be praised when people know I did this. Like, and it's just so even in my books that are written by women, it gives the beauty that I love about that is like it gives this like this reality of this mentality that men actually have that they're owed. They're owed it.
I can't,
Like they come into this world already, like the world is already in debt to them.
and I think that there is a primal instinct of that. I think that
Mm.
if we look at mammals and we look at animals, through evolution. Like the male mammals don't typically stick around, you know, they can in some species, but at the evolved species, you know. And when we look at human males, it's the ones that have truly evolved that stick around, that put the effort into sticking around, not the stumped, emotionally studded ones who refuse to grow. And it just
Mm,
reminds me of that famous quote. I forget her name, but she said, women fear that men will kill them, but men fear that women will laugh at them.
mm.
And it's really that simple.
It is. It really is. Like, in all honesty, it comes down to that. Like, women fear walking home, fear being alone with certain men, fear these things because men, like, men are the thing that we're afraid of.
Well, they are our apex predator. Like that's a fact.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's all about their perception. Men have perceptions of women in our role,
Hmm.
you know, and
Yeah.
they've been taught we are here to play or we're here to be their lover or to be their mother or be a therapist or worse, be their prize
Mm.
or ultimately a combination of all of them. But then we could roll into, well, is that a bad thing? If you're a combination of those, is it or is it not?
Is it because men feel they're already deserving of that? It's a fine line. It's a fine line. Because,
It's,
okay,
yep,
prime example.
go.
I'm a very dominant being in this world. I make sure that men know my dominance because I, at a young age, had experienced, a very toxic masculine figure in my life, in which case, you know, as I grew up, not my father, by the way. Let me say that real quick. My
Let's
father is
clarify.
is actually a very gentle man, never even spanked us as kids. I became this very dominant being that nothing would ever happen to me again. I
Mm,
would be able to defend myself and I became this dominant thing. But in actuality, I crave a dominant man, but real dominance, not that fake, I'm deserving of this. It's that real dominance because in actuality, in that dynamic, I'm still the dominance. It's
mm,
a dominant submitting
mm.
and trusting and putting their trust in me that I can turn around and put it in them to be that dominant figure.
And I think
And
it's a beautiful thing,
yeah,
that balance,
absolutely.
that trust, you know, and that's
Hmm.
where we're missing men even today, the men written by men, the men of today. They're missing the role that they themselves should have, which is you are a witness. You are a peer. You are a full spectrum soul experience partner. And partnering is success. You know, it's equity. Not necessarily, I mean, equality goes without saying. Equity, where
Hmm.
you can lift harder, you
Yeah,
know, where you can protect farther. Um, it just makes sense that way, but it's bizarre to me how our roles and expectations of fantasy versus reality are just so wildly not taken advantage of by the opposite gender in most cases.
absolutely. Absolutely. Because while, you know, men are out here doing all of these man things and focusing on themselves, then on the other hand, you have us women who are taking the
The
notes
internal
and
organs, we are the
yeah.
internal, and we're
Hmm.
trying to, it's so primal.
Hmm.
to me, you know, and bless the men out there that are doing the internal education and
Absolutely.
understanding the feminine that technically is inside of themselves. Because if, I mean, we've said this before, if you can't honor the feminine in you, you can't honor the female with you,
Yeah,
period.
absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
it's, you know, we've talked about it where like we know how to operate in the masculine world that exists
Hmm.
today. It's
Well,
not built for
90, I feel
us.
like, honestly, I don't even think 90 is being dramatic. I think 90% of women function in the masculine world
Oh, I think
nowadays.
it's more than that.
It's because we have to. Like, with the economy the way it is, we have to function just, we have to make the money, we have to do all the things. We know how to do that plus be the feminine.
Well, and then like if you throw we mothers, right? So it's like any woman, even our hormonal structure.
Mhm.
And I listened to a mom on a podcast recently, and she was like, nothing about our world is set up for mothers. Nothing. And she
Mm-mm.
was like, nothing about it is set up for females. Nothing. And then we're ridiculed. We're an eye roll if we talk about a hormone, or if we talk about we're tired. Nothing, no education except for now, you know. And she was like, it's a 9 to 5 world. And yet children come home at 3. She's like, so how does a mom win in that?
Yeah.
Sorry. This is
No,
the reality written, you know, out for us. And it's just, it's so hard. It's hard for women these days when we read or watch these men who get it, and then we are tsunami just pommeled with men who don't in reality.
yeah.
They just don't. And they are the ones leading the world, leading our country, leading our homes, leading our families,
Hmm.
leading our neighborhood, leading our local laws,
Yeah.
except for those who do. You guys don't count. Thank you so much. We love you.
Right.
And keep going.
Right.
And please, like, get on public platforms and say your truth and like, help other men, please. Like, maybe, you know, kidnap them. We need good,
Right.
we need good men kidnapping other men
Right. No
in a
kidding. No
harmless way
kidding.
to educate them.
Right.
Could you imagine?
Kidnap them, stick them in front of we're like stick them in
Yeah.
front of a table and it's like journal your feelings. What?
Sit
Because
with
as women,
your feelings.
we're out here journaling every interaction like it's a sacred ceremony. You know what I mean? So it's like to have bring them in and like sit them in front and put Outlander on. Put,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like force them and be like, now I need you to dissect all of that from the female POV.
Like
You know what I mean?
what
Like,
have been your standout takeaways from the male characters in your books? I
yeah.
can do mine from the film because I, you know, cinematography and whatnot, but like I can do mine from the all of the television, the film work that I have watched, and you could pull from all of your books.
Hmm.
Because most of my stuff comes from your books.
Yeah.
But like, what are your
Well,
takeaways about the male characters written by females?
it's well,
Oh,
and
look at how soft you just got. You're like, well, it's like they just
that's something that a real man has like can maybe once or twice have pulled
take
out. That's
notes,
like,
gents, take notes.
it's
Meanwhile,
just
4 minutes
this.
ago, she's like, I'm this dominant female. And then I was like,
Right.
Caitlin, tell me about the male. Well, they're just like, well, sorry, go on.
It's just
Uh-huh.
it's so hard to explain. It's because they put out this emotional security. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But I read a lot of dark romance too, so it's not as cutesy as like fantasy romance and some of the other
But wouldn't you
because it starts out
say? I
Go
was
ahead.
just gonna say, but what you say, even in your dark romance, it's because they're able to meet her in her darkness.
It's okay, meeting her in her darkness and also understanding their darkness. That's the thing,
Boom.
is because it starts out they're emotionally unavailable and they're tough and they've got this exterior, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
But then it switches to his POV, and the entire time he's yearning for her. He's trying to work through, he's being distant from her because he's trying to work through his shit mentally before he steps at her door. It's like it's literally like it's everything we like. A lot of dark romance readers are victims of trauma.
Mhm.
Or writers, I should say. A lot of the ones who
Yeah.
write, the authors, and a lot of the readers are victims of trauma, in which case it's what we wish those men who caused us that trauma, whether it's physical, mental, financial, all of it.
Mhm.
We That's what we wish they were actually like, but in reality, so we're when we're reading and then it switches to his POV and he was, yearning, and he's like, I'm staying away until I fix this part of myself, and I'm not going to ruin her, and I'm not going to, but all
Mm.
through that he was yearning for her and wanting her, but he just was not going to step to her door until he was accepting, until he was at that, he was worthy. There we go. That's the right. Until he was worthy of her love in return.
And that's a really interesting, really, really interesting term for me because that dings my religious history, worthy, right? And it makes me wonder now in my, I will say, gently upgraded perspective of worthiness. I think that that has a really big card to play that we don't commonly talk about. Even the podcasts that I listen to from neuroscientists and psychologists and a lot of them don't talk about this perception of worthiness. They talk a lot about ego, talk a lot about trauma, physiology, just kind of
Mhm.
like our basic structure of function. But I love that in our, I mean, in our segment two, written by a woman versus written by reality.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful construct paradigm of like, does worthiness really have a place in reality? And if so, what does that mean and at what cost and what limits
Mm.
for
Yeah.
you, for your partner? And it's like, are we always worthy or are we not?
Well, and here's the thing, like me, who I am as a person, I believe we are always worthy and we are always enough.
Mm,
But if someone is not on my level, like I will either rise, but I refuse to fall. Does that make
right.
sense? I'm at
Yeah.
that point in my life where I refuse to fall. So I might want to better myself to be worthy of, I'm already worthy. You know what I mean? In
Hmm.
which case, like, he may perceive me as like being more than worthy, or or I might perceive him of being more than worthy. But I think that flows into what we were talking about before with a modern like flow, because in different times, of course, worthy was perceived very differently, but
Mm,
now it's a flow. And a lot of times in the books I read, where there's always one who doesn't believe they're worthy of the other,
mm,
but the whole time each one of them was yearning for the
mm,
other, and there's either one or both of them don't believe they're worthy. And a lot of times with the women in the books, like they're constantly worried they're not tough enough, they're not this, they're not that, they're not soft or feminine enough. It's like always, like, it depends on what character is being talked about, on, oh, they're not enough this, and then the whole time everything that she was worried about, he was everything he loved about her. And so I think that we live in a
mm.
constant state of worthy. It's just a matter of finding the
Finding,
person the person that finds you to be worthy.
right. And that reminds me, like most men haven't even been taught. We're coming to a new era of generations. Like
Mhm.
my son has been taught first emotional vocabulary because I refuse to raise a male who not only doesn't have an emotional vocabulary, but doesn't know how to communicate his emotions or boundaries,
Hmm.
or treats his partner, whomever that may be, without emotional continence, like the consonants. I refused the
Yeah.
concept of another male who doesn't talk, or
Hmm.
worse, blames his female partner
Well,
or
because
a partner.
you don't want him to fall victim of him being with someone that says, like, who's not saying he gives me fictional men energy. You want him to be that one that says he gives me that fictional men energy, you
Hmm.
know, and
He
because
already is. Like if I could shout out
yeah,
about my 8-year-old, almost
hmm,
9, Caitlin, he's almost 9.
I know, I know, I
Like
know.
that little baby can read his mother across the house. He can read you
Hmm.
across the house,
Hmm.
you know? And it, like, sure, we could talk about my parent, but like some boys are just naturally born that way. I know that his dad was that way,
Hmm.
and his dad understood. His dad gave fictional male energy
Hmm.
and reality. And I think that what sets those boys apart, similar to the characters in the novels, is their humility. They are so
Hmm.
strong in
Hmm.
a pursuit, whether that's their goal, their war, their whatever, build a house, overcome an illness, lift something heavy, whatever masculine thing that's calling them, but their devotion to the feminine is unconditional. Unconditional.
Yes. Hmm.
The devotion to the feminine supersedes everything. And it's really honestly whenever they have that moment where they have to decide, am I going to cross the boundary where I put her second, that they get in trouble.
Hmm. Yeah.
And she's
Yeah.
like, duh.
Yeah.
Like, of course, there's going to be an issue now. What did you expect?
Yeah.
Like, I don't treat you that way.
Hmm.
You know,
Well, and
they just,
that's the thing. Like I've struggled with in past relationships where I'm like, I never make a decision without putting my partner like into account of that. Like
mm,
when I am planning to do something, I always think of my partner when it involves, like if I made plans with friends, I would be like, hey, like I would think in my brain, let's do it this day because I know that he has this going on and then it's not going to interfere with anything we might want to do. You know what I mean? I've always been that way, but men just don't do
mm-mm,
that.
mm-mm. They don't do that projection. And they'll
No.
project about their own selfish pursuits in most cases,
Yeah.
but they don't do that projection, that consideration
Yeah.
for the unity and the balance. And then it's cue heartbreak, cue the awakening, and cue the mess, you know? And most of the time they just want to roll around in the swamp with it.
Yeah.
Like a like an alligator trying to chomp on something, just rolling, death
Uh,
rolling. And it's like, what are you doing?
and then that's that point when they take it too far and then now we're the crazy ones. You know what I
Now
mean?
it's our fault for
Now it's our
having
fault because we're
standards.
like, yeah, because I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Well, and that's where it brings into, my personal problem with attracting narcissists is they sell you this version of them that's not real.
Mm.
And then all of a sudden they start falling short of that because it's not who they really are.
Hmm.
And then we're like swung out of this fantasy realm that we were living in. And it's not because I think that it's going to be honeymooning all year round, but like
No.
communication and like basic things like the second, I can really tell when I'm starting to pull away because I stop considering someone. When I start
Mm.
acting like a man. And
Yeah.
that aspect of, at the end of my last relationship, I stopped figuring out if this is going to work. I'd be like, hey, I'm going to do this day. and whether it interferes or not didn't matter. But that was when, you know what I mean? Because I was done at that point because I was tired of asking over and over and over
Mm.
again for the same amount of respect, for the same amount of love, for the same amount of, you know, all the things for consideration.
You know,
And
it
so,
reminds me immediately what you're talking about. This is hysterical.
mhm,
Whenever I became a new mom
mhm,
and I learned about the phases of the brain development, and I will never forget what you're talking about, right? Right. So they start falling short and they start becoming really egocentric, self-serving. Like everything is about me first, me, me, me. I have an independent life. I have my own life, but you also have a partner, but okay.
mhm,
Um, a toddler 0 to 2, maybe even pushing it to 3 and 4, right? That the terrible twos are because their brain only operates primally. It is only functioning out of self-serving. That's why they don't share very well. If you look on playgrounds with toddlers, they're typically pretty good at playing by themselves in a sandbox. You get into a pinch when toddler versus toddler. They're screaming at each other, they're hitting each other,
mhm.
they bite because they don't want to share. And when you were talking about grown adult men or grown adults, even females, who lose touch with their maturity, their
Mhm.
evolution of a full executive brain operation, right? Full grown adult men who start operating egocentrically are reverting to their toddlerhood.
Mhm.
You get men who want to be mothered.
Yeah.
You get men who want to be served,
Mhm.
who want to be tidied up for them. You get those men, grown adults, who put their female partner in those roles because they are operating at a 2-year-old level. Ladies, think
Well,
about
it
that. Do you
well
want a
and
kid? Do you want a grown ass man child?
well and that's I was just about to say that is what I I don't know if I just naturally like I've always been mama bear, you know what I mean? Like I've just oh
Yeah.
that's my how I am. And I attract those men who need a mommy. And that is the exact opposite of what I want. Like that's I might be mommy in real life, you know what I mean? But when it comes to my personal life, I need daddy. You know what I mean? Like I need someone like I do not I'm done raising grown men. I'm done. Like I've hit that point
All of us are,
of
I think,
like
women today.
just
We're
mm-hmm.
all done with that. And I think
Yeah.
that whenever we push the standard forward and they're like,
Yeah.
what? You want what? You want me to act like a king? You want me to keep growing? What do you mean? You want me to consider you first? What do you mean you want me to share?
Well, in this beautiful thing that I've started doing is like old me would have been like, I'm gonna explain it to you a couple times and I'm gonna like mothering, you
Mm,
know, like I would be like, oh, we're
teaching.
gonna work through this. And now I just let them show me who they are and then I just I'm just done. Like
Yeah.
I just posted about it. Like the promise, like my New Year's resolution last year was I refuse to reach out to people and I refuse to always be there for people and I refuse to be the one always initiating. And because as an Aries, we just naturally do it. Like it's
Right.
just who we are. And so I was like, I refuse to be that person anymore. And this year got real quiet. Like it got real quiet and a lot of the people who fell off, you know, some of it was surprising, but at the same time, I am so thankful because now when I see it, I'm like, I refuse to reach out to a man first. I refuse to plan the date. I refuse to put effort in. If you want something, plan it. If you want to take me to do something, do it. Like I'm just in that point of like, no,
I love it. I
no.
love the filters. It's like a netting. Like if you can't, if that's catching you up, don't even bother. It's gonna wear you out. And I think that's a perfect segue into our next segment, the fantasy femininity and the fall of the scripting. The
Because
fall of,
fantasy,
yeah, go ahead.
yeah,
Go ahead.
like no, you're fine. The fantasy is not the enemy.
Mm.
Projection without discernment is. So
Ooh, girl. Say it again. Say it again.
projection without discernment is fantasy is not the enemy. We've been told that a soft woman will attract a safe man. And while that's partially true, we also attract a lot of unhealed men and the unavailable men and the performers because the softness alone doesn't filter the safety.
It's the brighter the light, the more the insects. You got to choose which one sticks.
Yep. And that's where my discernment comes in nowadays. It's just,
And I think that's exactly what it is. We have to reclaim
mhm.
our power of discernment.
Yeah.
We have to reclaim, reinstall, restore our authority to say
Mhm.
no,
Mhm.
no,
Mhm.
no, no. Like Lucy Liu in the Charlie's Angels. No, no, no. And being okay with that. And it's like, it's so like, men claim to have this lonely men epidemic right now, and yet women alone are like, eh.
Yeah. Well, okay, so I saw a TikTok video the other day. I meant to send it to you. It was this girl, it was like single women written by men, and she comes home and she looks real sad and she closes her door and she takes her high heels off and she grabs a bottle of wine and she's just sitting
Right.
there in the dark. She's drinking her wine and she just looks really depressed. And then it was single women written by women and she like comes in and she's like stripping off her clothes and she puts on her pajamas and she gets her glass of wine but she
Puts
sits on the
her
couch with
hairnet
her
in a
dog.
messy bun.
Yeah, messy
Yeah.
bun, she's got the TV on or she's got a book and then she's got her animal there and she's just like yeah, like loving life. She's got a big old pizza by herself. Like it's just like the difference of like you know why we have this male loneliness
Mix up,
epidemic.
right, the mix up
you
of
know
perception. And it's like,
yeah.
no, no, please don't think that we're sad. Like, sure, we could have pinches of loneliness here and there, but
Yeah.
like more often than not, the lack of crazy that of the unfulfillment that we have to endure
Yeah.
and the disrespect that we have to endure,
Mhm.
the lack of consideration, the inconsiderations that we have to endure by the majority. Like we are
Mhm.
propelled into glory. We are
Yeah.
propelled into our own stable femininity that
Mhm.
technically is already internally
Well, and it helps
beautiful.
us, yeah, it helps us reclaim our gaze. Like, who do we
Mm.
actually want to be seen by? Who deserves to read our story? Who deserves that spot on that throne next to us? You know what I mean?
Yes. Hell, and then it's like, do I even want a open chair?
That's where my dog belongs. Like that's you hit a point
That
where you're like, my dog
it's
can sit there.
like you would have to be equivalent to my best girlfriend. Otherwise, that's
Mhm.
her chair.
Yep,
Like
exactly.
when
Exactly.
and if
That's
she
her chair.
can, when she wants to come sit. Otherwise, she's sitting on her chair in her kingdom doing her thing. And I have a designated chair over there too. And it's like,
Mm.
you
You want to
know,
be the footstool? Like, sorry, too far.
I mean, some men would.
It's true. Well, see, and that's the difference. Because that a man would be like, definitely, like a fantasy man would be like, I'll be that footstool. And that's when you're just like, all right, you can sit in the throne.
God, you know what? And then it would be like, I'll start with your feet and I'll work my way up. That's what he would say.
Yeah.
Because, I just, with boys,
Mm.
these days,
Mm.
they think that, being the footstool or massaging her while she's in her throne on the shoulders, that he's a simp. He's a
Mm.
pushover. No, no.
That's
He
real
is
masculinity right there.
he is massaging the heart of his home.
Hmm.
No, no, he is watering the seeds of love.
Mhm.
What about that screams
He's
simp? What
keeping his grass green.
in his own kingdom? And he
Hmm.
is nurturing the tree of which will produce his offspring potentially. He is nurturing that mother, the nurturing the woman, the queen, goddess. What about that scream simp? Sounds awesome to me
I
because
remember, well, I remember a couple exes ago. Um, he said he looked at me one day and he's like, God, I'm such a simp for you. And I was like, I didn't take it as a compliment because um that's not cute to me. Like, and I was like, and what's wrong with that? Like, what's
mhm,
you're perceiving it as simp? I'm perceiving it as like you actually
are
caring for me
devoted.
and devoted to me, and that was a couple months in, you know what I mean?
I'm a
And
simp
so
for you. Isn't that just the toxic
and but
verbiage
he
they're
said but
taught?
he said it, ugh, I'm such a simp for you. Like the way he said it too, I was like,
Right.
In
It's
which
that,
case I will never attract a man like that ever again.
no. And it's like,
Mm-mm.
who taught you that?
Yeah.
Who taught you
Yeah.
that serving, loving, and perhaps prioritizing your female partner is a simp thing and that it should be a grudge? Because everything about that
Yeah.
again goes back to toddlerhood. You have to
Yeah.
share your favorite toy.
Mm.
Just share it. I don't want to share it. Well, then the woman that you wrote in your head isn't the woman that you're dating.
Facts. And you need to find another one because maybe you'll find one like that, but most of us aren't.
Not
They're out
today,
there.
because we have
No.
been the footstool for men
Yeah. A
forever.
very long time.
Forever, I
Since
believe.
forever.
Minus a few tribes here and there that still exist today. But
Yeah. Facts. Facts.
geez, don't ever give up your throne, ladies. And
No,
males,
never.
don't ever give up your throne. Just make sure that you keep her throne nice and shiny.
Hmm. Absolutely.
I could sit and talk about
So
this for hours.
I know, I know. Well, Cams, I think what we've gotten to with this entire episode, and this will probably be my favorite episode
So
because,
far.
yeah, because of how much I love fantasy in the realm and I love psychology. And so
Mm-hmm.
crossing my two worlds, but maybe I think what we're taking away is maybe it's not about finding the man written by a woman.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's about becoming discerning enough to choose the partner who shows up in equity, integrity, and emotional maturity. Yeah.
Oh,
Mm,
oh,
mm,
it's yummy. Oh, it's
yes.
yummy.
Mm-hmm.
To continue.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that fantasy.
No. Mm-mm.
It's not the fixer fucking upper
No.
and not the projections, but the human who comes in and meets your
Mm,
softness or meets you
absolutely.
with softness, with
Mm.
steadiness and your femininity, with their real masculine accountability.
Oof. Oof. That magical word, accountability.
Wait for it, I'm gonna make it better.
Uh-huh.
Consistently. I'll say it consistently.
One more time.
Consistently.
Oof.
I swear to God, Caitlin, we just if women one day figure out how to evolve like frogs, is it frogs that they can switch between male and female?
I don't remember. I know the like what you're I don't remember what species it is, so
It's one of them. Look out.
look out.
Men, keep up.
For real, for real.
But you know,
Uh
maybe we won't have to and maybe we'll just find those mates and they won't need a lot of editing.
or any editing at all. The right one won't. I truly believe that.
Yeah, I love it. Well, you guys, thank you so much for sitting with us
Yes.
and enjoying our campfire session. This
Yes.
has been Feral Healing.
And as always, we'll see you in the shadows.
Mwah. Bye, guys. I'll see you
Bye.
next time.